biencephalon. And so what's the terms, though, that are more common terms? Midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Okay, so just looking at this is the brainstem model. Up here, see these bulbs? What do you think those are? Well, this is the brainstem down here, right? So this is higher up, so this is definitely not brainstem. What was the next area higher up in the brain? Diencephalon. And then above that is telecephalon or cerebrum. What was in the cerebrum that had gray matter inside? Basal nuclei. See these big bulbs? Those are basal nuclei. The littler swellings down here, lower down would be thalamus. Okay? And so we're talking brainstem. This is what part? Midbrain. What's this?
Pons.
And this?
Medulla.
Medulla oblongata. So here on this one, remember you had, see what I mean? This is that basal nuclei, thalamus. So it's all below that. And so again, midbrain right here, pons, medulla oblongata. So in the midbrain, the things that we need to look at. Remember, let me bring back this guy. You guys didn't have the advantage of this. What ventricles are these out here?
Lateral.
This one here?
Third.
And now it connects, and this is the fourth. Here's your fourth ventricle right here. Okay, so there's going to be a connection. Remember, all the ventricles connect. There's going to be a connection between the third and fourth ventricles. Okay, between the third and fourth ventricles, and the fourth ventricle, if you look for it here, here's the pons right here. Okay, here's your fourth ventricle. My Q-tip is in it. So the fourth ventricle is posterior to the pons. It's between the pons and the cerebellum. Okay, is where it's at. Now, that connection between, and remember, what ventricle's up around in here? Third. And fourth. See that connection between the two? Mm-hmm. So there's fluid that can go through there, and that's in the midbrain. So that's the, what's that called? Cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct, right there. Okay, cerebral aqueduct. You can see it there. Here it is right here. Here's third ventricle. There's your cerebral aqueduct. Right there. Okay. So here's midbrain. Now remember when we looked at this thing anterior? What were those two little green bumps there? Mammillary bodies. Flip it over posterior. What was that one that was in the middle right there? Pineal body. Now you see below the pineal body, what do you see? Four little bumps, right? You see those four bumps? Yeah, you see those? What's that called? Corpora quadrigemini. The two superior ones are called what? Superior colliculus. That has visual reflexes. And the two inferior ones? Inferior colliculus. So all four are the corpora quadrigemini. The two superior ones, superior colliculus for visual reflexes. The two inferior ones are inferior colliculus for auditory reflexes. Okay. So that's stuff that's in the midbrain. The other part of the midbrain you need to know is these fibers out here, cerebral pedicles. And so here they are here. See these fibers? Cerebral pedicles. They sort of tear this apart in the back, but you can make out that cerebral aqueduct right in there. Okay. And then these two little bumps here, what were those? Part of the superior inferior colliculus on one side. This represents a little piece of maybe the pineal gland right here. Okay. Okay, pons. Again, here's the pons. You guys see these cranial nerves here? We're going to get back to this model. Okay, and then posterior to the pons is the fourth ventricle, and then posterior to that is the cerebellum. And so, pretty much, whoops, the cerebellum is sitting like this. And so you can see, I pull this apart, there's the fourth ventricle. Okay, right there. And here's the cerebellum sitting back here. Okay, so here's the cerebellum. What are these folds here? Folia, right. You see this little worm in the midline right here? What's that called?
Vermis.
Vermis. That's the vermis. Okay. And if you take that sucker and cut it in half, you get to see this little white thing, and somebody saw it, reminded them of a tree, and they call it the tree of life. And so what's that called? Yeah, and in your lab practicals, if you write down tree of life, are you going to get it right?
No.
No, it's arbor vitae. It's just that's what arbor vitae means. But believe me, people write that down because that's what they remember, you know. And they're hoping at that time that this guy that sits, this cerebellum that sits back here, hangs off of pedicles, and that's these flat areas. And so that's the middle cerebellar pedicle right here. On this model, it would be this flat area right here. Here and here. Middle cerebellar pedicle. You actually have a superior and inferior too. Okay, so that's that. The last part was this area here. And that, again, what was that? The medulla oblongata. See these two little bulges on the sides here that are kind of red, brown? What are those?
Olives.
Olives. It must have reminded the guy of olives. He was probably having a cocktail that day. Martini, yeah. And then, see the columns in between the olives? Those are the medullary pyramids. They don't look like pyramids, but that's what they're called. That's where you have the ductization of fibers. That's where you have crossing of fibers from the right to the left or left to right. Right there. Here you can see it a little bit better. Medulla, this bulge right here is the olive. And then these two things here, these two columns are the medullary pyramids. Okay? You guys had some questions. What two spaces does the cerebral aqueduct connect? Third and fourth ventricle. Injury to the cerebellum would result in what physical findings or symptoms? Yeah, just coordination. It's be ataxia. You'd be walking, it'd be hard to walk.
Like the drunk guy, but he's not drunk.
Right, a drunk guy that's not drunk. Okay, we ready to